Okay, so hey guys, welcome to Life of M Talks, featuring with Brandon Mayer here and Wiid. Welcome.
Hey Brandon, thank you.
Thank you.
Exciting stuff.
It's awesome. So this is the first time that we're having the Life of M Talks. The idea is concept is to just talk on some topics. Obviously get some guys who have some expertise on the topics and get them in and hear just what's your idea on what we talk about. Today we're actually talking about, and we are trying to be very chilled, so excuse our coffee and our tea and everything. But I think the idea is just to be conversational and talk, what exactly is your idea on this? What do you think? And then be able to say like, listen, this is what my experience is on this as well, and talk to the guys and say like, this is what you can hear from what we have experienced as well. So I'll also be talking, but I think you'll be talking a lot more about some of the things. So one of the things is inspiration, motivation, and obviously living in a multifunctional world. We these days obviously have to be multifunctional in everything that we do. So as we are in the workplace, in our business, everything that we're doing these days, you have to perform in multifunctional positions. So we have to now obviously give our take on that. So firstly, I think just for the people, who are you? What do you do? And just a short thing about you.
Yeah, thanks Brandon for inviting me. So Wiid grew up here in Klerksdorp.
Okay.
Actually, so this is common ground for me. And I'm a mentor and a life coach. And then also I'm involved in ministry. So we have got a ministry that we're starting just outside of Klerksdorp called Solid Ground. So the Lord's called me with these two purposes, to actually mentor and coach in personal life, business life, and spiritual life. And then we have a show here on Life FM called Think Life with myself and Sandy, which is really just a place where we also share ideas, concepts, and things that work in our own life, where we struggle with challenges and how we overcome them. From a biblical perspective.
Yeah, no, that's always awesome. And as far as I've started knowing you now, I really do see that you've got that inspiration for what you're functioning in right now. You've got really a drive for helping businesses through the thinking process, obviously with the whole Think Life show as well, that you helping individuals and businesses through the topics that you guys are covering, So obviously most of the time you guys are covering some individual types of topics. I think the last one I heard was on depression actually.
Yes.
If I'm correct.
Yes.
I think it was the 2 weeks ago. I think it was the last time I listened actually.
Yeah.
but it was on depression. And it was really awesome and it's impactful for individuals to hear those types of topics. But also then with I forgot now, the online, the course that you do with the businesses, the thinking.
Oh, so that's Wisdom Inc.'s tools that we use.
Yes.
Yeah. And I just, to speak a little bit about inspiration, Brandon, I think that the light went on for me when I really realized that God's got a calling for each one of us.
Yes.
And that's where the real inspiration lies. If you can use your background, your experiences, whatever it has been, and align that with what skills you've been blessed with. What you've experienced, and you kind of join those two together. And then you get to a place where you start living beyond yourself. Okay. So then you can start giving back. And I've got this poster in my studio at home which says, "Be the person you needed when you were young."
Oh, wow.
And so we are called to, we all mentor someone. People look at us.
Yes.
And we are called to really share those lessons and inspire and to say, but look, I've been through this. I know what it feels like.
Yeah.
This is the stuff I did. This can maybe help you. Don't you want to try some of this? So in terms, and then your inspiration that you get back is the fruit of those people seeing, wow, man, this worked. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to just give a little bit of a testimony. On our ministry, there was a guy really, really struggling about 3 weeks ago. All the pressure, mounted, and he was kind of at a place where he didn't see hope anymore.
Wow.
And we went to him, we lifted him up, we prayed over him, and we did a workshop with him. Myself, I did it just like a 1-day session with him, and Sunday he got baptized.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so he's a new creation now, and he's the first one now who posts inspirational messages.
Wow.
So it's really doing something that inspires other people to get into their calling.
So like for me, I mean, that's the thing that I think a lot of people forget with their life is, are you living for only yourself, or are you living for something bigger than yourself, And that's the inspiration. And if I'm hearing what you're saying, is that you're trying to live not only for yourself, now you're living for other people as well.
Yes.
And which is bigger than yourself, because it's not just your life that you're focused on. You're focused on someone else's life.
Yeah, I mean, we called for that. And where the penny dropped for me is the 10 seconds before I went in for our first child's birth.
Oh, yeah.
I had the mask on and the clothing and everything, and there was this mirror, and it just hit me, that now my actions will be influencing this child's life.
Yeah.
And that's big.
Yeah.
and from that moment, my identity changed, where I became a father, and I needed to really start filtering my actions, what I do. There's such a bigger responsibility for what you do with your time and your resources and how you treat people, because now you become an example for someone's life. And you can either build or break, And so that is exactly that. The moment the Lord can start using you to live beyond yourself, it's a total new ball game.
Different. But so for me, I think a lot of the times we have inspiration for something, but then we don't have the motivation, so we lack the motivation to actually complete the task or whatever we are inspired to do, we lack that motivation. So for me, obviously I've got a way of this, and I might want to give my 2 cents, but what do you feel, what gave you that motivation as well? Or how do you even stay motivated with that stuff? Like, you are inspired now to do something, you've got an idea, you want to help businesses, you want to help people, but you need to have that motivation. Now, for our children, obviously, it's a different thing, because I think if we see our children every day, we try and find that motivation. We still want to get going, but sometimes we lose it,
Yep.
But now, even for like an idea, let's say you have a business idea, you've got the inspiration for the idea, but you need to find that motivation as well. What do you think is your biggest take on that? How do you stay motivated? Where do you find motivation?
It's a great question, because I think a lot of the times we just stay in the process of the thoughts.
Oh, yes.
Which is unseen. So your inspiration is unseen. You're inspired, you got this fire to do something.
Yeah.
And in your mind, almost you can see, like these guys that do the high jump, you can see this thing happening and you are bubbling. But now, with a lack of effort, not putting it into action, because that's where the learning comes. If you try something, then you learn. You fail, you try again, you learn to do it better, and so on. So a lot of people stay in their heads.
They understand the thought.
Yeah. So I mean, it feels like you're making progress, but the word says faith without works is dead.
Yes.
So I've got this faith of this thing; it's going to work, but I'm not doing my part.
Yeah, no action,
So there's many ways. I think if the inspiration is, it needs to be so mind blowing that it gets you out of your bed. It gets you into action.
Yes.
And then you must also have the right mindset.
Yeah.
So because you're going to face resistance, Brandon, things are going to happen. There's going to be challenges. Now, what happens is our minds are designed to protect us. So firstly, it wants to keep us in our comfort zone, which is great, but there's no progress. There's no personal growth there. You're not going to sell something just thinking about it. So you need to know firstly that there's going to be resistance. Secondly, you need to have a mindset to say, look, anything that's going to happen, any step I'm going to take will be progress, even if I fail a few times.
Okay, yes,
You see, so you need to see yourself as a person who sees failing as progress.
Yes.
Because now I've learned a better way to do this.
Or not to do it.
Or not to do it.
Yeah.
So you need to firstly, your mindset needs to be correct. Focused. And then you need to have a specific goal. To say, this is what I want to achieve. This is how it's going to look. You have to put some kind of deadline to it.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? Because a goal is great, but it's just a dream if it doesn't have a deadline.
Yes.
So I need to very clearly say, this is what I want to achieve at that time, and then step back and say, these are the steps I'm going to take.
Oh, yes.
Because, like I say, the moment your mind faces resistance, it's going to pop up all these easy tasks for you to do. And then it's going to say, but you know what? Let's quickly go and do this thing first. And then you're off track.
Yes.
So you need to really have a goal. And then how do you do that? You do it with daily habits. So we need to design daily habits into our lives that get us this progress.
It could be like small tasks.
Small things.
Or something, just taking something and breaking it up into smaller daily things that you can do.
Yep.
And then building yourself up towards the final, whatever the final picture would be.
That's it. Because I heard also on another podcast, the lady said, if the thing is too difficult, then your first step is too big.
Okay.
So, everything, like you say, if you break it down into small little steps, it's not a problem. And then as you achieve these little steps,
then
you feel
you get that
dopamine,
extra motivation.
It's achievement. I'm making progress. Wow.
And especially like for me, just before we started, we spoke about the Microsoft to-do list thing.
Yes.
And for me as well, like I put the stuff on my to-do list. Then sometimes some of them are bigger tasks that I want to complete, like building like a streamer on the website or something like that, Now I'm like needing to get that thing done. So now I'm spending like 2-3 days on that thing. And I feel like, and until it's not actually done, now you're like, oh my word, I've actually completed it. Now you're happy. You just want to share with everyone. And that motivation actually gets you further, because now I'm looking at the website maybe and I'm like, okay, I think I can improve these things on the website. I want to do this. I want to add that stuff, Now you feel like, okay, I've done this big task. Now these other things actually feel like smaller tasks versus that thing. Or I've done these small tasks, and now it's accumulated and it's made like it's finished my bigger task. Because even though I spent like a few days on the streamer on our website, I built it from scratch, and I built it, getting the one function to work. And then the next day I was like getting the other function to work.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, okay, I just need to look nice as well, you know? And then like as I finished up with the whole thing, you know, it was also daily things that I finished, small things that I finished, you know, getting just a function to work. And then the next function, and then the next thing, and then all of a sudden the thing's done, you know? So now I was like, oh my word, this thing is done. I'm so happy. It's working.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would be able to do it, you know, but then
Sure.
you actually get it done, and then you just feel that dopamine of, I've accomplished this, and I think I can do even more. But now the other thing as well, I think, and I find this a lot. So I've got a way of tackling this. It's always different for everyone. And I think from what I've heard from your guys' show, you guys have a different way of tackling this as well. So for me, sometimes what I find is I've got motivation for something, but then I lack the inspiration for it. And usually it happens because I've got the inspiration. I've got the motivation. I start the thing. I've maybe finished like a few things in it, and then like I'm just so tired. You know, you especially if you're just sitting behind the computer the whole time, you know, from start to finish, the whole entire day, you don't take any breaks, you don't do anything. And then you're so tired, and then you just never finish it at the end of the day because of the whole, you're feeling so tired, you're not focused, you're making mistakes while you're doing it. Now you stop after a while because you feel like you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, that happens. And I think there's two things that popped up by me. I think the one thing is to get an accountability partner.
Okay.
You know, if you and Amber, for instance, kind of hold each other accountable, that gives you that little bit of extra motivation
to keep it. Yeah.
Yes, you know, because you're part of a team now.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that I would do. The second thing is I would change my environment.
Okay.
So if you're working on a laptop for one day of the week, just go sit in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
With Wi-Fi. Okay. Immediately I've got different inspiration. You've got different influences coming in. Your mind starts thinking about things differently. So that's what I would do. And on the habits part, I would definitely start following guys on that specific topic for that season.
Okay, yes.
So that you can get more inspiration.
So that's one of the things that I like doing is I would start and I'll sit and I'll maybe listen to a podcast while I'm working on some stuff. I'll put it on in the background, or sometimes I'll watch like a YouTube video of someone doing something related to that, you know, someone building a website, someone doing videography, someone doing designs or whatever. Then I'll watch some of that stuff, and now it starts inspiring me to do or be more creative on the other things, you know. And now I've got some inspiration for me again. So some people feel like you start, now it can go to extreme where you start just sitting and watching your YouTube videos.
Yeah, it could become a distraction.
Yeah. But to me, I've found like doing those types of things, even sometimes just taking a little break, you know, and just doing something different, like playing a little game, you know, and stuff. Now that also can become, all of that stuff can become a distraction.
Yeah.
But just limiting that, whatever you're spending on that, and then trying to move forward from there, not staying in that stuff. Yes. So just staying on the YouTube videos, just staying on your games or whatever you're doing. But that stuff now gives you a break in your mind. You getting a break from that. Now I can become inspired again, because now when I come back to whatever I'm doing, I start looking at it from an outside perspective. To me, it becomes an outside perspective because you were so focused and you were in it.
Sure.
Now you're coming back. Now you're seeing where you are. Now you're looking again from the outside and seeing, okay, I need to start working on this, but what I did here was not right, you know?
Yes.
Or what I did here, I should have rather done differently.
Yeah, it's a bit of a reality check.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important, because we can go down a rabbit hole and build something that's totally not practical if we don't do that self-reflection.
Yeah.
What's popping up again is one thing that I found helpful for myself is I went to the China store and I just bought like a timer. It's like a digital clock.
Okay.
It's very cheap. And, it's actually for the kitchens, if you want to put something in the oven.
Yeah.
And so if I want to take a break or if I want to do a focus session on something specific,
Yes.
I'll turn it on to 15 minutes. And then and that also triggers you to get in and outside of that focus area.
Yeah.
The other thing that's amazing what you're doing there is because you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Everything that you add to that, all the influences, all the information, it's at least you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
So that is great. That's
And it
really
becomes
good.
it becomes inspiration as well. That's what's so great about
and knowledge.
Yeah. And you're building up. So that actually gets to the next thing we want to talk about is being in a multifunctional environment. So that means, like, let's say if you have your business, you're doing, especially if you're starting out your business, you're doing everything in the business. You're doing the accounts, the sales, you're doing like the tasks, maybe even you doing the work, everything. And that becomes difficult because in a while back, we didn't have this type of digital world that we're living in. And it was way simpler, it feels to me, because advertising, all you do is you go to the newspaper, you go to the guys who put signs up or whatever.
Yeah.
You advertise your business there. You maybe put there, you used to have like the post board way back in the days. And then you put like a thing like at Spa and stuff like that. You get like the board.
That's exactly
post
MCC,
thing. Yeah. And then like that was a common thing. Now these days it probably still works to a degree, but like now it's like you have to function in such a massive environment and platforms that are just competing with you and other businesses, like 1,000 other businesses that are on there, maybe even like 1 million other businesses that are on there that has the same thing that you are doing. But you need to now obviously do it differently in the first place, but also you need to understand that thing. So if you don't understand marketing, it doesn't help you at all.
Yes.
And if you don't have the budget to do have someone do marketing for you, that also makes it difficult.
Sure.
And then the other thing is like even the tasks. Let's say if you can't start out paying someone to do something for you, or if let's say you're working in a workplace and you have to perform in the marketing environment and the financial environment or something like that, that happens. That's very common these days, especially with the economy. I think businesses don't have the budget to get more people in to function in all the areas, So then it becomes a thing of like, okay, you can do this and this, and then you can do this and this. Way back in the day, it was like very specialized.
Yeah.
You did like one task, like if I'm thinking about like the newspaper, like the guys would literally just do the press. This guy would just do the cutting. This guy would just do that.
Yeah.
So that was very specialized, the functions that you had. You didn't function in anything else. But now these days, we're functioning in so many other things. Like for me as well, like I'm functioning in marketing, social media marketing, production, video, website, everything, So I'm doing so many things, but for me to maintain that, I have to continually be learning, building up knowledge. I have to try and better myself in all the things and so on. But for you, what do you feel is important looking at that type of environment that we find ourselves in these days? What is important for you regarding that? How do you keep, first place motivation, inspiration, but also growth in those areas? How do you keep growing?
That's a good question. I think I've got the saying, everyone says they are busy these days, but the question is, are you productive?
Okay.
So you need to know that the 1,440 minutes that you've got in a day,
yes,
everyone's got the same amount of time.
Yeah.
And it's all about how you focus on the task.
Yes.
Because everyone is fighting for some real estate in your mind.
Oh, yes.
So, and so you as a gatekeeper, you can decide which you're going to give attention to. And I think, Dr. Gustav Gous, he's my life coach.
Okay.
He uses the analogy of a GPS.
Okay.
So you need to find direction. You need to know where you're going.
Okay.
And you need to know the road that you are taking. And so the G is for goals. So
goals, yeah.
The P is for priorities.
Okay.
And the S is for scheduling.
Okay.
So he says you need to be able to work the clock and the calendar very specifically. Yeah. So you use your calendar as a roadmap for the day.
Yeah.
Okay. You say, today I've got my top 3 priorities.
Yeah.
No matter what comes, I need to get these 3 things done.
And it has to happen today.
It has to happen today. And so every day that starts fresh. It's like that to-do app that you said.
To-do, yes.
So, every day you can choose that because things change. Your priorities change.
Yeah.
So I always use the example of 2.5 years ago. My wife went for a major back operation.
Okay.
And so my priorities shifted for 6 months. She was the
priority.
Children I had to take a lot of responsibility on. But once that's settled, I could continue.
Yes.
Again. So your priorities are going to change constantly.
Yeah.
So today, what are my three priorities?
Yes.
Anything above that is bonus.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so you got your roadmap.
Yeah.
You've scheduled time for that. You know which ones are priority.
Yes.
And then every day you need to do something difficult. You have to put in there the eat the frog. I call it the eat the frog thing. Okay. So that's the thing you're always postponing. It's the thing you put off. You never do.
Yeah. I hear you.
Maybe it's a WhatsApping an old friend. Yes. Paying some account, finding out about a new shop you want to rent or whatever. But it's like, that's what you said. No, you don't have the inspiration to do it or enough motivation.
But you need to sit down and do it.
Yeah, so now you got only these 4 things you're focusing on. Accept that there will be interruptions during the day.
Yeah.
We don't take in account driving to work and sitting in traffic and someone's on a call for 20 minutes.
Yes.
Just accept that stuff. Make buffers for yourself in your day. And so that means you can kind of zoom in and out of specific tasks. And every day that your progress is compounding. So you're moving in the right direction. You are working on important stuff. Doesn't matter which one it is. Just need to know that I'm working on important stuff.
Yeah.
And that I've scheduled time for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things as well, I think, is we forget to schedule our times for even like times for breaking, and that type of stuff. Because we think that we can go like a robot right through the day, and we've got 40 tasks for the week, and we want to finish them in one day.
Yeah.
And then the other thing as well is we forget that we need to break, we need to make phone calls. We need to, go on lunch breaks or something like that. So, and now it helps to rather say, okay, these are my goals for today. I want to finish them. If I don't finish anything else, just these ones.
Correct.
And I'm happy.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And I think what's really important is to kind of have a vision for yourself before your day starts. Yeah. Because, what you do the moment you wake up, it kind of determines a lot of how your day is going to be. So obviously, as believers, we spend time with the Lord.
Yeah.
And sometimes He'll reveal something during the night that's important. That needs to be one of those 3 things.
Yes.
So you just put them in there. But the important thing is that you almost kind of stand at the end of your day looking back and say, what's my day going to look like if it is successful? Yes. It's not meeting with Brandon. It's meeting with Brandon and doing a great show.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you're defining that success for you because it's so easy to say I want to meet with Brandon.
Yeah.
But what do we want to achieve?
Yes.
Is it part of my calling? Is it going to inspire?
Yes.
And so then you kind of, you know, you have a better vision of what you want to achieve the end of the day, a clearer vision, and that helps your mind to get on board.
Yeah.
And so because your mind really, it's designed to figure out stuff. It's designed to solve problems.
Yes.
And if you make it interesting enough, it'll go for it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So for me, as well, like I usually function in a way of like I've got, and it's just something that I've picked up through my lifetime as well, because I would build up a lot of skills, like a lot of skills usually. Like even in music, I've got like a bunch of skills that I've worked on. So I'm not just like someone who plays guitar, you know, singing, doing bass guitar, doing some drums, a little bit of keyboard as well, and that type of stuff, you know. So I start building some more skills as well. And then even like my IT side, I've done, you know, basic IT work, you know, support, fixing computers, everything like that. Then I bought like websites, then I do design, then I'm moving into photography, videography. And then, you know, so I keep on building up skills as I go and knowledge and that stuff. And I think that's something that helps me a lot, because if I find the inspiration and interest in something, then I run with that, you know, and I start researching it and I start building up some more skills in it, and I start figuring out how it works more and stuff like that. And that's something amazing to me about the multifunctional world that we live in, is that you can sometimes even find an interest without knowing that you're interested in that. And then you have to find like a task that you have to complete. Like you have to start marketing your business or something. And then you're like, I didn't know I'm so interested in marketing. Like the different ways. How can you do some different types of marketing that you can do in like your town that you live in, you know, some interesting flyers that you can make that catch people's attention, you know, video ads that you can make and catch people's attention and stuff. So you start building into so many things, and now all of a sudden you even find something that's new to you, and you didn't even know, like, I've got a passion for this. And I think I actually like this thing that I'm doing now. You know, it's really something interesting to me. And that's the thing for me as well, is you can set your goals, you can prioritize them, and you can schedule them. But also, I think the inspiration and motivation is always important. But how are you building as well those other skills, you know? So you finishing your tasks, finishing, but you also need to build your skills, you know. And for me, that's what I mean with, I've got so many skills that I've built up, but it's taking me time. It's taken me, you know, being interested in it, sometimes losing interest and then finding interest again. And then I'm building and building and building these skills the whole time, continually. And that helps me now to function in the way that I am functioning at the moment, you know, where I can manage the station, I can do the marketing, I can work with, you know, clients, I can work with the production of the station, I can do the social media videos, the everything, you know. So I'm doing so many tasks, and it can obviously sometimes feel overwhelming for a person to do so many tasks. But for me, it's the interest that I have in it as well that motivates me and inspires me. You know, so for me, I can just build the skills even more, better myself the whole time. I mean, there's always room for improvement. You can do whatever you want. You can try and do your best at it, but there's always going to be some room for improvement. You know, you always have one person that's better than you. You're always going to have one person that's smarter than you, one person that you know has more of a can function better or have that skill set. Sorry, can I say that? To do even more than you. So, but that doesn't matter. It's just the focus for me has always been, how can I improve myself in this thing? You know, doing that a little bit by a little bit, and then adding, because I have to function in so many areas, I have to improve in those areas as well. And as you said, with the goals, you have to set the goal, you have to prioritize, and you have to schedule it. But as well, we have to also, as you said, you build up your knowledge. You take a break, you watch a video on that topic. You know, build up your knowledge, build up your skills.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's good. I think there's two types of mindsets that they've identified. And so the one is a growth mindset, is what you're speaking about.
Yeah.
That person that always wants to learn more, is excited, inspired, looking for inspiration, being creative, trying to new thoughts as a new idea, you know, trying stuffing, not being too afraid to fail.
Yes.
Is a very big stopper of progress, and also not being a perfectionist.
Yes.
So, you know, get it down, then we get it right.
Yeah.
So, and the other guy, the other mindset is, you know, everything is a challenge. It's the glass is half empty.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to take this on. My brain is full. So, yes, I think it's for us to make sure that we stay in a growth mindset. Because if we resist change, we're going to struggle. We're going to fall back. If you look at when I was born in the 70s, it was there wasn't really like phones, there wasn't TV, there wasn't computers, there was nothing like that.
Yeah.
So we had to, our generation and before us had to very quickly start learning to change.
Yes.
Now you must understand that your value system needs to be in a set state. That doesn't change. But the world around you changes, and you need to adapt so that you can still make a difference there. And that means personal growth is exactly what you're saying. For you to become the best person, you want to, in all areas, always advance. And you measure yourself against your best self.
Yeah.
You measure yourself against yesterday.
Yes.
And how you face challenges, how you actually deal with challenges.
Yes.
That's where the real saucy stuff lies.
Yeah.
But having that growth mindset, and then I would also suggest getting a life coach.
Yeah.
Someone who you can check in with now and then.
Yeah.
That's maybe not a friend, but that has a different perspective, because burnout is something that's really possible for everybody these days. And I hit it myself.
Okay.
So I know that when you realize you're there, it's too late.
Okay.
You know, and you want to do all this, and it's great, but just someone who can give a different perspective.
Yeah.
And then also balance is super important. So balance your work life, your personal life. It's not a black and white thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a line that you can separate, because you're going to sleep tonight and think of work.
Yeah.
And that's in your personal time.
That is.
But get it so that at least you know in which box everything fits, you know. And if something is important, then take it out of that box and then you handle it. But it's really great. I mean, the times we're living in it's unheard of. If you use it correctly, it's super inspirational. You can find out anything, you can almost become anything, you can do anything, and if you've got the right mindset.
And that's really awesome. And I mean, also what you mentioned sticks out to me, and I think before we land, your time is also important, especially your family time, personal time versus work time. And for me, something I've done personally, which helps me a lot, because as you might know, you know, it's so easy for me, you know, someone to want to phone me quickly for something, or someone who wants to just, take some of you or distract you from your family time or personal time. And then usually it's work related. And then what I do is I use that archive function on my WhatsApp. So most of my work conversations are archived. Nah? So then because at work, I'll be checking that the whole time, continually. So I won't miss something so easily.
Yeah.
But when, and then if it's important, someone can phone me, obviously. But otherwise, if I'm with my family, that just stays there.
Sure.
You know?
That's good.
And then if it's really important, they can phone me.
Yes.
You know, but otherwise it just waits until I can get back to it.
You know, that's brilliant. That's good boundaries.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, if you look at the 5 love languages, you know, people, they all geared, but it doesn't help you with someone, but you're not there.
Yeah, you're not attentive and really.
People feel it on if you're spending time with them even.
Yeah.
And, you know, if their quality or their love language is quality time, but you're not there. You know, you're checking your phone all the time.
Yeah.
So I think we need to get in a habit, and it is going to take practice. All of us need to practice this to really use the phone as a tool.
Yeah.
And not let it use you.
Yeah.
So you've got your set times. Like you say, if there's an emergency and they've tried and they've WhatsApped, and they will eventually get hold of you, you know.
They will,
But for this, like for us now, we have to buy out this time.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what's happening in the world, we are focused, we are here.
Yeah.
And that's where you actually start really doing deep work. You're getting things that is important. Relationship is always before function. Doesn't help you at work and you are successful at work, but your marriage is crumbling.
Yes.
So Dr. Gustav Gauss says it's like the life wheel.
Yeah.
If your wheel is flat on the one side, the whole wheel is flat.
Yeah.
So get your priorities in order. If you're at home, be at home. If you're at work, be at work.
Yeah, and that helps, I think, as well, especially with burnout. I think it helps a lot.
Yes.
Because people who burn out are usually the guys who can't shut down. They can't shut down whatever they're busy with. They're always thinking about work, always busy with work, and nothing else is coming ahead of work. You know, nothing is more prioritized except for work. And then usually those guys are the guys who burn out the easiest. You know?
It is.
So yeah, and especially that I think even fits in with goals and prioritize and schedule, because now you even need to schedule your family time, you know, stuff like that, because that's important as well, and you need to prioritize that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but thank you so much for coming. I think we'll definitely maybe do a follow-up, because I think there's so much to talk about. Like it's 3 topics: that inspiration, motivation, and multifunctional world that we're living.
Yeah.
That is such important topics, I think, but I think you can just go on forever about them, because I think there's so many smaller things, details that we can talk about, like your family life and everything, that, you know, we don't even have time to talk about now. But I mean, there's so much more that we can talk about. I think that we can somewhere, we'll do a part 2, I think.
Awesome.
That would be awesome.
No, that'll be a privilege.
But yeah, and then if you guys have anything that you guys want to talk about or hear about, please drop us a comment. We'll love to hear from you guys. If you guys enjoyed these talks, please let us know, and go and like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And if you guys want to, where can they get you?
So thinklife.co.za?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So head out to thinklife.co.za. They've got some awesome content and awesome tools as well. You guys have the mind map tool as well.
Yes. So the guided thinking is there, and also they can contact us. We can send some information through, and all the podcasts are also on there.
Awesome. So you guys can go and listen to them as well. But thank you so much, Louis, for coming.
Cool.
And thank you guys for listening.
Brandon. Awesome.